Yeah. P-Ron back at the stove. You brag about real history. Bro, it ain't even done. You serving cold dough and calling it classic, we call that buns. Your scripts are buns, half-baked lies, smoked out truth in a paper disguise. You sell fake wars, we see through the guys. Brian's Lee cooking while your empire dies. You said you write real, boy, please. Your buns so weak they collapse in the breeze. Your masterpiece, man, it's parody plain. No soul, no structure, just ego and chain. You sprinkle fake quotes, then rinse, repeat, but your grammar's offbeat like your moral defeat. You plagiarize pain and call it art, but the oven broke, you just burnt the start. You kill Brian and Braun for a storyline spark, then your pages rot while we own them all. We flipped your scripts in a public trial. Whole crowd yawns, couldn't fake a smile. Your metaphors limp, your cadence vile. You serving cardboard, we serve style. Your scripts are buns, half-baked lies, smoked out truth in a paper disguise. You sell fake wars, we see through the guys. Brian's Lee cooking while your empire dies. You said you write real, boy, please. Your buns so weak they collapse in the breeze. You rhyme freedom with kingdom twice. Recycled lines, stale as ice. You call it vision, I call it vice. You bake corruption and serve it nice. That revolution versus Serbia draft, man, a plot so bad it made ghosts laugh. Half your dialogue reads like chaff, even Brick said, yo, that paragraph. You flex as an author, but your ghost to blame. Hide behind footnotes and a fake good name. You forge history, then shift the frame, but the league drop heat, yours burst in flame. You said your scripts could stand for years, but the ink dissolves when the truth appears. You baked your fame in the wrong frontier, now the league chef's here, the smoke is clear. Your scripts are buns, half-baked lies, smoked out truth in a paper disguise. You sell fake wars, we see through the guys. Brian's Lee cooking while your empire dies. You said you write real, boy, please. Your buns so weak they collapse in the breeze. The oven's cold, your legend's done. No more real history, we've seen the run. Brian's name echoes, Braun's still son. You roll your fall line by line, one by one. Now the league eats while your crumbs decay. Keep your buns, a Munson. We feast today.
Yeah. This one's for the ledger. For every line they hid, Brick raised the legacy. A Munson learned to kill it. Two devils, one crown. Let's peel the skin back. Brick built the house, a Munson burned the home. One taught the hunger, the other taught to roam. Father of the fault, son of the con. They passed a torch that only taught us wrong. Brick's hands were dirty, a Munson's hands bled black. One owned the paper, the other owned the rack. Between the two, they forged a lie, but Brian's Lee fed the truth and watched them die. Brick ran real history like a ledger of sins. LeBron's bloodline stamped on the cover within. He had a code, crooked, creased, and cold. Took what he needed, sold the rest and fold. Not innocent, nah, he trafficked in names, but he kept the pattern with a brittle frame. Then a Munson sleeved with teeth that sharper grew. A student who studied how monsters accrue. Learned Brick's handshake, learned his size, learned how to make the masses sympathize. But where Brick kept the ledger, a Munson wrote the flame. He rewrote the ledger and removed the name. Brick's cruelty had bounds and utterly measured art. A Munson's cruelty learned to beat the heart. Brick had a conscience cracked but still there. Munson turning portraits beneath layers of air. They hated each other slow, they hated each other gold. One's pride turned timid, one's hunger bold. Brick saw a mirror, a Munson saw prey. So a Munson took the mirror and killed the day. Brick built the house, a Munson burned a home. One taught the hunger, the other taught to roam. Father of the fault, son of the con. They passed the torch that only taught us wrong. Brick's hands were dirty, a Munson's hands bled black. One owned the paper, the other owned the rack. Between the two, they forged the lie, but Brian's laid down the truth and watched him die. Brick raised a son who wore a crown with splinters. LeBron shadowed long from the history printer. Brick thought control was code and keys. A Munson thought control was fear and fees. When Brick folded, he passed the keys with hands that shook. Didn't know he passed the curse inside the book. A Munson smiled, took lessons and then scaled. Turned Brick's whispers into a plan unveiled. They argued in whispers, ledger versus ledgerless rage. Brick pleading for order, a Munson wanting stage. Sometimes the hatred was born in a glance. Sometimes in a way one let a rival advance. Brick hated the bastard for his greedy delight. A Munson hated Brick for pretending he might. Let guilt slow him down, let mercy be a bluff. A Munson's cold laughed when Brick looked rough. Brick blamed himself when the blood hit the floor. Amundsen made sure there'd be blood, then more. Brick's legacy tarnished, but there was a line. Amundsen erased it and made the lie shine. So Brick taught the language, the law, the lie. Amundsen sharpened tongues to make angels die. And the broad fell where the father once bled. Two ghosts in a mirror, both callous, both fled. Brick held a fault line of guilt and regret. Amundsen held only the ledger he'd forget. They weren't equal sins. One softer in the seam, one colder than midnight and meaner than a dream. Hate grew like mildew between mentor and pawn, till mentor turned teacher and the student moved on. You think it's just two men with a crooked past? It's a dynasty of darkness built to forever last. Brick's hands were stained, but he kept the shape. Amundsen's hands crushed the world like an unmade tape. They whispered at night of empires to come. They plotted with ink until the ink ran numb. But here's the ledger, open, raw, and bright. Brick taught the theft, Amundsen taught the fright. One held a license to bend the page, the other wrote endings in a bloodier rage. You can know from Brick, he was evil yet restrained. But Amundsen's empire is where monsters reign. So we close the book on father and thief, expose both flaws and the deeper grief. Brian's League don't pick favorites, we pick truth bone. And we carve the names into the cornerstone. Brick's sins will stain, his name will ache, but Amundsen's crimes will never fully wake. Brick taught the lesson, Amundsen killed the class. Now P-Rare writes the final pass.